Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you this Lockwood Assa Abloy, or Assa Abloy who make Lockwood, 3573 sliding door mortise lock, okay? Now this is a sliding door mortise lock, okay? In an earlier video I showed you the 3571, that one's a deadbolt for hinge doors. This one here is exactly the same, the difference is just the bolt. This one's more for sliding doors, that other one is more for hinge doors. I probably will do a video on comparing the two side by side, but for now I'm just going to show you this one here. Okay, so the part number is 3573SC for satin chrome, okay, or satin stainless, or stainless steel. Some people might have different names for the same finish. Okay, satin chrome is the most common finish these locks come in. They're starting to come out in a black colour now, like a matte black. Okay, there is also polished brass, antique copper, and of course polished stainless. Okay. Those finishes are quite uncommon, but they are out there. Okay, so this is just the lock body. Okay, so this is just the lock body. Okay, it does not include a cylinder. Okay, it does not include any escutcheons or roses or plates. You got to buy them separately, but you can get them as kits where you get them. All right. So this type of lock here is not cheap. Okay. These type of locks, the retail price is around $270. I got this for about $140. Okay, so but the normal retail price is about $270. The hinged variant of this lock here is about $70 less. Okay, it's about $100 just for the hinge, or $200 just for the hinged version. Okay, so this one here is more expensive because there's more clockwork. Okay, now this one here is just the standard one. There is also an escape model. Okay, but this is just your standard configuration. It's marked E and D, so this one here is a kit that comes for entrance. So this one has the turn snip adapter and the cam in the box, but you can also get them for privacy, where it has turn adapter and passage with turn snip adapter on both sides. You can get it for glass door, where it has a cylinder on both sides. You can get it for cupboards, which will be one-sided. Okay, but this is just the entrance, where it has the key on the outside and the turn on the inside. All right, so I'll quickly show you what's in the box. Okay. Now, normally this would come with instructions and a warranty card, but I have discarded them. Okay, let me just make sure that's in the camera so you get an idea. Okay, so the first thing here is the screw and accessory bag. Okay, you get 8 wood screws here. Okay, 2 would be for the lock body, and 2 would be or 6 would be for the striker plate. This is your striker plate here. It doesn't come with a strike keeper, unlike the hinged version. Okay, so that's your striker plate there. As you can see, that's made out of 4mm stainless steel plate, so it's very strong. Okay, and you got 6 screws holding it in place instead of 2. Okay, this here is the face plate. This goes on the side of the lock body. All right, and this here is the lock body itself. Okay, so with the screws, there's 2 to screw the lock body in place. There's 6 to screw on the striker plate. There's 2 to screw on the face plate. These 2 little black parts you see here, they're your cylinder retaining pins. They hold the cylinder in. Okay, and in the bag here, if you can see, it has comes with the what's called the Y cam and the Y adapter. Okay, that's what these type of locks use. Okay, so the Y cam and the Y adapter. Okay, this adapter is used for when you have your turn snip on the inside. This cam goes on the back of the cylinder. Sometimes the cylinders come with cams, sometimes they don't. Okay, if you buy a cylinder from the locksmith and you find the cam is incorrect, you just need to take the cam off and you need to put this cam on the back, and then that will operate this lock here. Okay, and this adapter goes on the inside and it's held in place by the cylinder retaining pins. Okay, so that's the fitting kit there. Okay, so what makes this lock different to the 3571 is the bolt. Okay, this one here has 2 hooks or parrot beaks that when the bolt is out, they hook into the actual striker plate and can prevent the door from sliding open. Okay, so this lock here, that $70 premium you're paying is because it's got a little extra clockwork in it, because you've got to pay for all that extra clockwork in the actual bolt. All right, now this type of lock here takes the standard 570 cylinder, which is an oval type cylinder right here. Okay, as you can see. All right. So all of these locks do. Okay, so you can put these on restricted keying. Okay, you can also put high security keying in it. Okay, in a lot of commercial applications, you'll find restricted key systems. This one here is just your standard LW5. Okay, but you can put restricted on it. All right, and this one here has the Y cam already fitted, and I'll show you how that works. Now, I did do a video on showing you one of these, which I installed on a cupboard at the Salvation Army, okay? But this time I'm showing you a video of what the lock body looks like when it's not in the door. It's exactly the same as the 3571. The difference is just the bolt, okay? And also the price. Now, all Lockwood locks are not cheap. They're expensive because they use expensive materials, okay? So you've got solid stainless steel, you've got a die-cast lock body, you've got stainless steel parts, and there is grease in there as well. So this lock here you can use with the escutcheon furniture. You can use with the rose furniture with the round, which is just the round escutcheon that goes over the cylinder or the turnsnib. There is also square escutcheons, or you can use it with the plate furniture. This is what a plate looks like here. Okay, this one here is a Lockwood 1938. Okay, this one here has the disabled turnsnib. Okay, if you're using generally with the escape version of this, you'd use the disabled turnsnib. Okay, but this one here is just one that I've got as an example of what the plate looks like. Okay, and for these locks, you'd use the plates with no handles. Okay, so depending on what function you're using, depends on which one you need. Okay, if you're going to be using it with entrance, you'd use the 1800/1906, which would be the plate with the cylinder hole and the plate with the turnsnib. All right. If you're going to be using glass door, you'll use a plate with a cylinder hole on both sides. So you need the 1900 and the 1800. If you're using privacy, you need the plate with the emergency override and the plate with the indicating turn. Okay, the part numbers for that is 1813 and 1940. If you're using it with passage, you need a plate with standard turnsnib on both sides. So the part number for that will be 1806/1906. All right, those are your standard if it's a double-sided lock. For single-sided lock, for cupboards, if you're using it with a key on the outside, and you'd use the plate with the cylinder hole, which would be the 1800, and the inside you'd use the 1907, which will be just a blank plate. If you're using it with the turnsnib on the outside only, you'd use the 1806 and the 1907 plate. Okay, those are the plates you'd use if you're using the plate furniture. If you're using the rose furniture, it's a little different, and of course the escutcheon furniture. All right, so this is just an example. Okay, this is a square end plate. They do also come as a round end plate. The round end plates would be 28 or 2900 series. This one here is the 18/1900. Okay, and these are the most common. I see these just about everywhere. Okay, this one here does not have the indicating turn, so this would be used on the escape lock. The one with the indicating turn is more for privacy set. All right, so that's what the plate looks like. Okay, and these are rehandable. So you just take that screw out, you put it on that side to rehand it. But the one with the standard turnsnib, which is of course 1906, does not have that. Only the disabled ones do. Okay. All right. So the face plate here basically, once you get your lock body in the door, this basically goes on the side like so, and that's what you'd see from the side of the door. That's what it will look like. Okay. On the frame, you'll see basically this with the 6 screws in there. Okay, so basically they marry up like that, and when the bolt protrudes, it catches onto this, and the door cannot slide open. And I will definitely show you how that works. All right, so we'll just go on as if we were installing it. Okay, so the first thing you do is you take these caps out. Okay, and then what you need to do is, depending on which is the inside, okay, you need to put your turnsnib adapter in. Okay, which is this part right here. You basically just put that in, okay, and then you put the retaining pin in to lock the turn adapter in place, okay. Once you do that, you simply just slide this into the door cavity, and then you'd use two of the wood screws to secure the lock body in the door, okay. And then what you need to do is you need to come through, you put your cylinder in, cylinder in like so, okay. Then you put the retaining pin in, okay. And before you put the faceplate on, it's best to check for operation with the key to make sure it works properly. Okay, just by turning it like so, and make sure the lock locks and unlocks properly. And also to check the turnsnib adapter, what you do is you just stick a Phillips head screwdriver in there and you just rotate it to make sure it locks and unlocks properly. Once you've done that, you basically just put the faceplate on like so. Use the two 2 screws here with a bit of Loctite on. Those are actually an M4 thread. Use those 2 screws and those will secure the faceplate to the lock body. Okay. And the next step, if you're using the plates, you'll need to put from the inside, you need to put your spring in, followed by your tail bar. Okay, and then you need to put your outside plate on over the cylinder, put this inside plate on, line up the tail bar with the plus section in the turn adapter, and then you put the two screws through. Okay, and once you get that done, you simply just put your striker plate on the frame, and then you just secure it with the 6 screws, and then you're pretty much done and you've fitted the lock. Okay, so that's basically how the lock goes in the door. Okay, if you've got the holes all pre-cut in the door, and you've got all the holes pre-cut, okay, because you do need to carve out all of this to get this lock body in. If you've already got the holes pre-carved out, generally these locks will screw in just a few minutes. Okay, so if you've got pre-cut holes, pre-drilled holes, generally that just screws on in just a few minutes. Okay, so it's very easy to change over if you're DIY, okay, and don't want to have to get a locksmith out. Okay, but you can buy these from any locksmith, okay. Now, I'll just quickly show you the bolt, okay. So this is a sliding door lock, so I'll just lock this. So as you can see, the bolt on this, it has these 2 hooks here, okay. So these 2 hooks is what makes it different to the hinged one. The hinged one just has a bolt without the hooks, okay. This one has these 2 hooks, and these 2 hooks stop the door sliding open. And this is a deadbolt, so you can't push this bolt back in with your hand, okay, because it's a deadbolt. It goes dead once the bolt is projected. So that prevents people from sticking a ruler, a knife, or a card in between the door and the frame to try to get the lock open, okay. So once this is projected out, the only way to open it is by turning the snib on the inside or by turning the key. Okay, as you can see, when I turn the key, the bolt retracts. Okay, and that will be unlocked, and that will be locked. Okay, and I'll just quickly show you how it lines up with the striker plate. So, just pop the striker plate on there. Okay, I'll project the bolt like so. Okay, and that's basically how it works. The 2 hooks hook onto the striker plate like so, and the door will not slide open. Okay, and it can be quite hard to try to pry this apart with a crowbar. Okay, because you've got 6 wood screws holding it into the frame, okay? Okay, so it can be quite difficult to try to break in, okay? And also, if you've got the sliding door where it has like a lip around here that covers up the side of the door, it can be real hard to get a crowbar in there. Okay, so this lock here does provide good security, okay? Now keep in mind that when you're using a passage or a privacy set, on this lock, those are not for security. Those functions are only to keep the door closed if it's passage, and for the privacy set is used for when you're in the loo or the shower, just to keep the door closed when you're in there. Okay, privacy locks can be undone with a flat blade screwdriver from the outside. Okay, that's why the plate, which I explained, the 1813, has a flat blade insert. There is another plate which is 1802. It's the same plate, except that one does not have the indicator on it, but they both have the emergency override. So if there is an emergency, you can get a flat blade in there and just unlock the lock. Okay, with an entrance set, it has a key on the outside, which is keeping the lock closed. Okay, with entrance, you have to use a key to get in, as where privacy, you need to use a screwdriver to get in. Okay, that's just the difference there. Okay. Okay, and with glass door, you'll have one of these cylinders on both the outside and the inside. Okay, a glass door is used for if you need the door to be locked on both sides and you can't get in on either side. You have to use a key to unlock and lock the door on either side. That's what glass door function is. Now, Lockwood do actually make a model of this which has a strike that has an automatic catch system where you can actually re-lock this, and as soon as you slide the door shut, it will automatically lock into the strike and the door will shut, and you have to use the key or the turn snip to unlock it. Okay, so Lockwood do make a striker plate for that, very similar to the sliding door narrow style mortise locks. Okay, this is just your standard striker plate. This one you got to relock manually. Okay, that's just the difference there. So essentially, this is all you get in the kit. Okay, in the box you get the lock body, you get your face plate, you get your striker plate. You get all your screws, your cylinder retaining pins, your turn adapter, and of course your cam. Okay, this is all that comes in the kit. Okay, it does not come with the cylinder and does not come with any plates. You've got to buy them separate or reuse the ones from your previous lock if you're replacing it. Okay, so that is the Lockwood 3573 sliding door mortise lock, okay, with entrance function, okay. So that's basically what entrance is. Entrance is with the key on the outside and the turn snib on the inside. But generally this will be the standard turn snib, not the disable one. The escape version functions very similar to this. The difference is that the turn snib on the inside cannot relock the door, okay. You have to relock the door from the outside with the key. The turn snib on the inside can just unlock the door, but it can't relock it. So that means you can't. That means if somebody unlocks it from the outside and they walk in, they can't relock the door behind them from the inside. So that means they have to get somebody from the outside to relock it with the key. Okay, but they can still unlock it from the inside. That's what the escape function is. Okay, so escape function is only available in just one function, which is like an entrance function. The difference is that the turn snib won't be able to relock the door. Okay, and the escape models are actually a little bit more expensive than the standard ones. Okay, because the difference is the part in here that drives the bolt is different, is carved out on the inside, so there's no way the turn adapter cam can catch on it and relock it. All right, that's just the difference there. Okay, but what I'm really here to show, but what I'm showing you today is just showing you what the lock looks like. Okay, and this is the lock right here. Okay, and these are expensive, and not only that they're heavy too. They've got a bit of weight to them. Okay, so they're quite heavy, so that just shows how good quality these are. Okay, because these locks are very good quality. Okay, you pretty much get what you pay for. You're paying for the quality. Okay, Lockwood have been doing this for years. Okay, and all of these locks are made in Australia, as you can see here. Okay, which is good. Okay, some of the other lower quality locks are always made in China. Okay, and they're just rubbish compared to this thing. Okay, there is another model of this, which is the Door Macabre MS version. Okay, and I've shown you one of them before. Okay, but this one here is just the Lockwood version. Okay, just different brands and different prices, but they both do the exact same thing. The carbon ones are more of a marine grade because they're made of stainless steel. Okay, as opposed to these ones, which are usually just die cast. Okay, so for marine applications, I use the carbon one, but for standard applications, just use the Lockwood. Okay, so that is the lock body there. Okay, it's available. The faceplate and the striker plate are available in 5 colours. Okay, and the lock is available in, I think, seven functions: entrance, passage, privacy, glass door, half covered turn, and half covered cylinder. Okay, and of course escape. They're the functions that you can get this lock in. Okay, and be aware that different finishes only apply to the striker plate and the faceplate, and of course the plates and the cylinder. It does not apply to the lock body. The lock body is going to be the same colour regardless of what finish you get. All right. So that is all there is to this lock. So that is the Lockwood 3573 sliding door mortise lock. So hope you enjoyed, and that'll be it.